Hi, my name's Isaac, and this is a 2022 Kia Telluride LX. And today, I'm going to review it for you guys. Before we begin, I'd like to thank Allentown Kia for providing this vehicle for me to review. If you're in the market for this particular model or any Kia, I'll leave a link to their website, allentownkia.com, in the description below. This is an LX trim, so it's a little bit lower in their lineup, but it still does come with a lot of amazing features. But moving to the front here, you'll have your Telluride typography spelled out there, and then below that, you'll have the brand new Kia logo. I really like this Kia logo. I think it's a lot sharper than their previous one, and I imagine that was tactical on Kia's part to be like, look, we're cool now. And I have to agree with them. I think they are a lot cooler, as we'll get to. And then moving over to the headlights, it does have full LED daytime running lights, though the headlights themselves are halogens and the turn signals are incandescent. And this particular model does not include fog lights. Moving underneath the hood in this Telluride, it is powered by a 3.8-liter GDI V6, making 291 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. Those are pretty impressive numbers for a 3-row family hauler. And lastly, this is paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And there is an airplane taking off behind me. I wanted to briefly touch upon the key fob. This has to be one of the most unique key fobs in the car industry right now. Usually you're going to get most of your buttons on the front face, but right here you only have your remote start button. So if you hit lock up there and hold down on this, that will remote start the Telluride. That is a really nice feature to have, and then you can just hold that down again to stop it. But it is so interesting. You have pretty much all the rest of your buttons here on the side. So lock, as I mentioned, unlock, you can hold to open your power lift gate, and then you have your alarm button. That is so cool, and as I mentioned, just such a unique design, really differentiating itself from the rest of the car industry. I'm sorry, again, another plane is taking off. I'm always filming these videos in wacky locations. I can't just film them in a parking lot. It's got to be like next to an airport or in a construction zone. Fully moving to the profile of this Telluride, you'll have 245/60R tires around these very nice 18-inch wheels, and then you'll have this cool chrome strip that goes along the entire bottom. And then if we move up to the mirror, you do have turn signal indicators incorporated into the mirror, and they are body colored, which is always really nice to see. These do have blind spot monitoring incorporated into them as well. And then if we move down to the door, you do have keyless entry, so if you have the key in your pocket, you can lock that. As you see, it just locked, and then you can hit this again and then unlock it. So that's always a great feature to have on these vehicles. Pretty simple cap back here for the gas. You just push it in and it kind of clicks into place. So no pull tab, you push in on that. And then moving to the rear, this has a very, very cool looking rear. It's bold. You don't see this a lot. That's basically what the theme of this video is. The Telluride has done a lot that you do not see in the car industry. And I think this rear design with the taillights and stuff is definitely an example of that, even though the Toyota Tundra just copied their taillights recently in that reveal. But I think that Kia did an excellent job with making this very distinct. You'll have parking sensors down here, and then you do have your backup camera right here. So I filmed the interior spot before this, and I mentioned how the backup camera was a little blurry, and that appears to be because there's still a film on it. So later in the video when I mentioned that, forgive me because I didn't know that there was film on that. Moving to the interior of the Telluride, Kia has exponentially stepped up their game in the past few years with interior quality and the premium feeling textures that they have. This is a soft touch armrest up here. You have this really nice door handle, and then moving down to the buttons, all of them are one touch down and one touch up, which is really cool. That's a very premium feature. You don't see that all too often on many of the competitors in this SUV segment. You'll have lock, unlock, your mirror controls right there, and then your window lockout button You'll have this really nice speaker grill down here. And then moving over here, you'll have some of your lane, really bright. You'll have some of your lane keeping assist settings, and then your traction control off button as well. And then moving up here, you'll have your traditional turn signal stock and your wiper stock. Nothing too particularly special there. And then focusing on the steering wheel and the buttons on here, it feels really, really premium. You'll have your Bluetooth, your volume controls right here, your channel changing, and your hang up and dial. And then you'll have your cruise control settings right there. Moving into the center gauge cluster here, you have a tiny screen in the center that's only black and white, but it still does tell you everything that you need to know, like what drive mode you're in, the outside temperature, your digital speedometer, and how many miles of range you have left. You can also control it from the steering wheel and get your trip info, your average fuel economy, and what drive mode you're in. So that's really convenient and nice to have. And then moving over to the infotainment system, wow, again, Kia has absolutely stepped up their game in every way. This is a really, really cool infotainment system, very responsive, very quick when you swipe. You'll have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto built into this. And there's some really unique features, like this sounds of nature. So you can click this and then you can skip between, you know, like rainy day. So if I turn this up, you can hear through the speakers that it's displaying this really nice kind of rain. And then open air cafe. Oh, give me warm fireplace every day of the week. Absolutely love that. And as you may have noticed, it's also splitting the screen because it's so wide with navigation. So if you want, you can take that away and just have a wider screen here with just that. Or if you're planning to go somewhere, you can have that built in there as well. And then you can swipe to a multitude of different things to have displayed on this side screen. But overall, very, very impressed with the infotainment on here. Kia, again, even on this LX model, has really knocked it out of the park. While we're here, I'm going to throw it in reverse really quick and show you the backup camera. The backup camera quality is okay on this Telluride. I don't know if it's a different camera on the higher trims. Hopefully when Kia is able to get more inventory, I can review a higher trimmed Telluride to show you what the difference is. But as it stands, this is a fairly competent backup camera. Basically, you just need to be able to see behind you, and that works. And then you also have parking sensors on this, so that's really nice to have that. They'll start kind of beeping if you're getting close to something. So that's cool to have. Throwing it back in park here, going a little bit lower to the screen, you'll have 3 center climate vents. That's kind of unique. You don't see that all too often. Usually it's just 2. And then below that, you'll have some physical controls for the screen, your navigation, your radio, your hazards, which I guess doesn't control the screen. It just controls your hazards, but buttons in there for that. And these feel really, really firm. Very sturdy buttons. They do not feel cheap at all. I've definitely been in some competitors that feel chintzy comparatively. And then moving below this, you'll have dual zone climate control, which is really nice. And then all your controls for that. And then moving down here, you will have a 12-volt AC adapter, regular USB, as I'm charging my mic right now. Whoop. And then another USB right there. I like those little doors. I think that's really cool. And then here is your shifter. Pretty standard shifter on here, you know, foot on the brake, push this in, and you're switching between modes. Nothing crazy there, but I'm actually kind of thankful for this. You know, everybody in the industry seems to be moving towards some sort of dial or spinny thing. And Kia's like, nope, we'll just give you a traditional shifter, which I really like. And then moving down here, you'll have your drive mode selector. You can just turn that, and then you'll have your auto engine start stop feature. So when you come to a stoplight to preserve fuel, it will turn the engine off automatically. Now, if you don't like that feature, you can turn it off. You have your auto hold button right here and your parking sensor button as well. So if you don't like those parking sensors when you're backing up, you can turn those off. And you do have an electronic parking brake. So you can just pull up on that. That will engage it. It will tell you in the gauge cluster, hey, parking brake's on. And then pushing it down will disengage it. And then you have this really nice piano gloss black finish on here and a leather armrest. Very comfortable to rest your arm, obviously. And then if we move into the center console right here, You have this little storage bin you can take out, but it is pretty basic in here. I don't think we have any USBs, just a traditional storage area. Overall, though, the interior fit and finish of the front of this Telluride is awesome. I'm very, very impressed with basically everything that's in here. I think Kia has really knocked it out of the park, and they didn't skimp on these lower end models. You know, they're really putting a lot of effort into it, and I really appreciate that. Moving to the second row seats, you'll have a really nice storage area right here. And then moving to the door, the top part is hard touch plastic. Unfortunately, it is not the nice, softer material up front, but the good news is this is a really nice soft touch leather material that you can rest your arm on right here. And then you also do get your window control. And then over here, you'll have your cup holders. And then a little bit further below that, you'll have a 12-volt outlet down there. And then this is the first time I think I've ever seen this in a car. You have USBs on the sides of each seat. I don't know if I've ever seen that. I think that is really cool and a very creative idea. Moving up top here, you'll have your rear climate controls. So you do have these little air vents back here you can open up, and then you can control basically the rear seat occupant's climate right from there. So that's really cool to see. And then you also do have a fold down armrest with 2 cup holders and a spot for a really tiny cup, so maybe 3. But these rear seats are really nice, very comfortable. And I'd imagine they'd be very comfortable on a long road trip as well. Let's take a look at the third row seats real quick. So accessing the third row is actually super easy. There's a button right here that you can press, and then that's gonna fold down the second row and slide it forward so that you can hop on in back here, and then you can click it back into place. You'll have another USB on each side and 2 cup holders back here. Admittedly, it is a little tiny bit more cramped back here comparatively to the third row. To the second row rather. I am 5'9", 5'10"-ish, and my knees are right up against this. And I do have a decent amount of headroom, but not much. So adults back here, probably not great for longer road trips, but obviously this would accommodate kids just fine. And if you want to easily get out of the third row, you can just press this button, and that does the same thing that that lower button does on the second row and pushes it forward, and so that you can easily get out. All right, driving the 2022 Kia Telluride. You know, when I initially went to go review one of these, I obviously wanted to get one of the highest trims, but all the dealerships around me did not have any of the higher trims available for the 2022 model year. And I said, okay, well, what do you have? And this was the highest trim that they had. And I was like, okay, kind of a lower model. Let's see how this goes. But honestly, I'm really, really impressed with this Telluride. Everything that Kia has done in the last few years has really impressed me and has gotten me to say, wow, I would actually consider a Kia. Honestly, I think Kia was a bit of a joke in the car industry, but now they have stepped up their game so much that they really don't even skimp on this lower trim. I mean, they give you a ton of features on this thing, and it really does feel premium, especially for $34,000. This is a really impressive SUV. And then opening it up here a little bit, that 3.8 is really spiffy, really, really responsive. So with that, I'm going to conclude this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. If you could like and subscribe, that would help my channel out quite a bit. And I am a Christian, so if you have any prayer requests, you can feel free to leave those in the comment section below. And lastly, I like to close on a weekly Bible verse. And with that, guys, I'll see you next time.